The other issue that has been of concern is how we conduct ourselves in the lounges, the members' lounge next to the chamber. In one or two occasions, Honorable Speaker, you will find members inviting non-members into the members' lounge. Honorable Speaker, the tea lounge also, on a number of occasions, Honorable Speaker, there is an area that is usually designated for visitors and the area designated strictly for sitting members. Honorable Speaker, it is members who are inviting their visitors. And why that place is designated for membership, for sitting members, Honorable Speaker, is because that is where members go and caucus and lobby each other. And we may not be able to do that comfortably when you have strangers seated next to you. So, Honorable Speaker, I also want you to guide members that we maintain the dignity of the House, not just within the precincts of the chamber, but also right outside, even at the tea place. The place that is designated for members strictly be for members. Honorable Speaker, I was shocked one of these Wednesday evenings when the House sits till 9 p.m. to walk to the members' bar. Honorable Speaker, I will not on this occasion name the two members who had invited female visitors to the members' bar. Honorable Speaker, I have said I will not name them, but should the same be repeated, Honorable Speaker, and I will be relaying the names to your office so that you also take action. And should the same happen again, Honorable Speaker, let me just say it loud and clear. I will name you in public, on the floor. Because that bar, for those who patronize the bar, again, it is strictly for sitting members. Honorable Speaker, I do not patronize a bar because I don't drink anything other than a soda there. But I have a few friends, some of who are looking who are aliens to us in the House. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I also seek that you do guide members that the areas designated for only sitting members, we respect that and only allow sitting members to patronize those areas, be it the tea place, be it the members' lounge, be it also the members' bar. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, yes, Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the ruling you've given is quite important, Mr. Speaker, because, you know, there are times we travel out of the country on business. And if you go to many jurisdictions, Mr. Speaker, even designated lifts for members of parliament cannot be used by visiting members of parliament in those countries. But in our own lifts, Mr. Speaker, in our offices, you find all manner of people, and like the majority leader has said, those ladies that he found in the bar, some of them are quite skimpily dressed, Mr. Speaker, and which is very unfortunate. But, Mr. Speaker, there's something I wanted to point out, that we have talked about our dress code within the precincts of Parliament. But sometimes, Mr. Speaker, we also have meetings that are outside Parliament for whatever reason. We could be doing some investigation outside the country, maybe in the northeastern parts of the country, where it's very hot. You could also be going to a region which is very cold. Mr. Speaker, I think we also have to have certain basic limits, even when we are outside. Because it is true that you can go to a hot area. But how would it look when members go into a meeting with vests because it is hot? You know, so we need, or with shorts, or with slippers. So, Mr. Speaker, we may need to look at also how to dress when we are outside the precincts, but we are having committee meetings, and they are official, but in that area maybe the weather is not appropriate for the kind of dressing that we have in the chambers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Robert. Chairman will enforce those rules strictly. I have seen on TV members in committee meetings looking like street fighters, you know, wearing some very shabby clothes, and it doesn't give the dignity that this House deserves. Ruku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for this very, very well detailed ruling as far as the dress code of members. Mr. Speaker, if you happen to, at the moment, to go to our restaurant, you'll find female ladies who are serving us there. They are wearing very, very tight trousers, very tight skirts. I hope this ruling, Mr. Speaker, cut across all the members, all the people who are within the parliament building, including the members here and the ladies who are serving us at our restaurants. I think it cuts across, Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
and if it doesn't cut across, let it be the crack of the assembly. Let him ensure that it also get implemented to the staff which is supervising.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker.
member-
Finally, Mr. Speaker,
yes.
it is important also to note whether the hairstyle of my colleague, Honorable Sarasia, whether it's also parliamentary, whether it is also around in this house,
Who?
Honorable Sarasia,
Yes.
the hairstyle. We also need to know, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, Mukunji.
Honorable Speaker, as we agree on how members are supposed to dress and everything, I, honorable member, take note that we are lacking what we would call national attire that is supposed to define our country. And Honorable Speaker, I believe dressing is something that is supposed to define members, but it should not alienate us from our society, our community, and all, Honorable Speaker. I would request this House to come up with what can be defined as national attire, so that we can also be able to show proudly our heritage and what can be defined as a national attire, Honorable Speaker. Also, Honorable Speaker, all these rules are really not auguring well with our young members, because we also like to relax. Maybe we should have a casual Friday, Honorable Speaker, or a casual day to break the code. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mukunji, my dress, my choice. You have the rest of the week to do that out there. The Monday, your dress, your choice, except if you are in committees. You are here only on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning and afternoon, and Thursday afternoon. We are not asking too much. Noblesse oblige. Nobility carries obligations and responsibility. There's no young noble. Nobility cuts across ages, cuts across gender, cuts across everything. Sunguli, I want us to.
Mr. Speaker, I want to associate myself with all those who are thanking you for this particular ruling. It is the proclamation that we revert back to our Commonwealth tradition. Because no matter what we say, we emanate from the Commonwealth Parliament of both of the United States, of the United Kingdom, and of the entire Commonwealth. And the dress code is as you have said, that anything else is an exception which you will determine. And I would like to invite you to look a little bit on the committees held in Mombasa, whether you can be able to say that there is a minimum of that kind. Because there are some places in Kenya where it is not tenable to wear a suit. But I think that if your ruling could be transmitted to the executive, you and I grew up under Moi, where you don't go and see the president in a flowing shirt. I think it was under the last the administration of Kibaki, where ministers were allowed to go wearing shirts without even tucking them in and go before the head of state. I think this discipline of this nation should emanate from this house and should flow all over. And maybe when you describe the blouse without sleeves, you must be very clear that whether it's covered by a coat or not, because so that when it becomes airy, the ladies don't demonstrate by removing their coats and finding that the sleeves are not actually there. Mr. Speaker, this is a very sound ruling, and we should implement it strongly.
Chematia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity again. I also want to rise to say that the ruling today is fair enough, that we are discussing on dress code. Fortunately, Mr. Speaker, no one in this house has ever walked in naked. And I think we've been at all time dressed properly. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chematia, you may wish to know that your speaker, with all the years of experience, many times, and members know themselves, I send the sergeants to go and tell them, please, you are indecently dressed. We don't want to name and shame you. And they quietly go and change. Because we don't want to be draconian. But I'm sure you agree, Chematia, that some certain minimum standards of decency are desirable in an august house like this.
I agree, Mr. Speaker. But I recently watched the president addressing the parliament in the EU, and I guessly realized that as much as we are adopting and subscribing to Commonwealth, if you watch members of the parliament in EU parliament, they don't dress the way we want to push ourselves so much. But honestly, Mr. Speaker, I think we should be more worried as Kenya to have a national attire at the expense of what and who dresses. As much as I agree that August House is a very respectable institution, but it should not be desirable for members of the parliament to be given a tailor-made dress code just because it is I mean, I still believe in my dress, my choice. And I listened carefully to your ruling today. It's a good ruling, but I wanted to understand to whose benchmark are we using? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I directed that you be handed the Speaker's rules to read. They were passed by this House, not by any single speaker. Yes, Jen Kagiri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I stand here to remind many of my colleagues that as small children, we watched the parliament and prayed that one day we would occupy these seats. Back then, it looked like a very serious house, and I hope it still does. Honorable Speaker, by the ruling that you've issued today, I appreciate that you're going to restore this house to the respectable house we knew it when we were growing up. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We are ready to dress decently, respectfully, offering the picture that has always been held of this house. Thank you.
Thank you. Mwisho Mama Zamzam. After that, we close.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi nataka pia niongeze usemi wangu katika uamuzi uliotoa leo. Ni haki kwa Wakenya kuona viongozi wao wakiwa wamevaa mavazi rasmi ambayo ndo mavazi ya bunge. Mheshimiwa Spika, tusidanganyane hapa kuwa my dress my choice. Kuna nguo zingine zinakuwa za mvuto zinasumbua watu kufocus hapa ndani ya bunge. Na tuwasumbue hawa ndugu zetu, manake roho zao ni ndogo, zina mtihani wakiona vitu kama vile. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, nguo ni vile ulivyosema, wanawake nguo ipite magoti, mkatai mkubali, hiyo ndio heshima ya ambao wabunge wetu ambao tunafaa kuwa ndani ya bunge. Dress my choice. Ukikaa kwako nyumbani, hata chumbani weza kukaa hivyo hivyo ama ukavaa vile unavyotaka kwa mume wako. lakini hapa ndani ya bunge sheria zimetungwa ili tuweze kuzifuata, na ni sheria za kuweka heshima ya bunge la taifa liwe katika anga za juu, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi kama mama kaunti wa Mombasa mimi nimefurahi, maanake mimi mwenyewe najielewa, najijua, nikifinika huwa sitoi mtihani kwa watu. Kwa hiyo dada zangu wale ambao pengine walipotea njia wakavaa zile spaghetti na zile nguo za mkono fupi, pengine walikuwa hawajui, lakini leo wamepata mwelekeo. Kwa hiyo tuvae kwa heshima, tuheshimu bunge la taifa. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Thank you. Can we stop here? Can we stop here? Thank you, honorable members. Let's stop here. Next order.
Order number 12, Committee of the Whole House.
Order, honorable members. Will you be upstanding?
Order, honorable members. Order, order. Order, Honorable Jematia. We are in the committee of the whole house. Honorable Pukose, we cannot transact this business without you. Take your seat. It's just a one-line, business. Honorable Julius Unkuli, I didn't hear you propose the cost of suits. For order in the house, Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe, Honorable Koyo, take your seats. We conclude this one in a minute. We are going to start with the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023.
Clause 2.
Honorable Chepkonga, we are on the Statutory Instruments Bill.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, I wish to drop the amendment that is contained in the order paper, number 114, clause 2. I don't wish to move that amendment. I propose to withdraw that amendment.
Honorable Chepkonga, your amendment is accordingly dropped. we will go to the next amendment. That was the amendment proposed by the Honorable Anthony Oluoch. Is Honorable Anthony Oluoch in the House? Honorable Anthony Oluoch, isn't your amendment the same as the amendment by the Honorable the Deputy Speaker? Give Honorable Anthony Oluoch the mic, because if they are the same, I would want the Deputy Speaker to move amendment first. So if it is carried, it will have dealt with yours. Honorable Anthony Oluoch, do you have your card with you?
Yes, it is on here. Oh, I see a small speaker here. I have not looked at the one from the Honorable Deputy Speaker. Are they the same? If they're the same, I will defer and allow her to move her first. I have not had the benefit of looking at the one for the Deputy Speaker.
Yeah, Honorable Oluoch, I've looked at your amendment, the amendments you propose,
Yes.
and the amendments by the Honorable Deputy Speaker,
Yes.
and I can confirm they are the same, both in substance and in wording.
That applies
So
to
I
clause 3
direct
and
that
4?
the Honorable Deputy Speaker will move amendments. You will, however, set in, if there is any lapse, we will see what remains out of your amendment. The Honorable Deputy Speaker, move your amendment.
That's the amendment of clause 2, isn't it? Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 2 of the bill be amended in the proposed new subsection 6 by inserting the words, and I quote, "and the parliamentary website," immediately after the word circulation. This is just for neatness, because in the modern world, websites are also a means of publication.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 2 of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, be part of the bill. Honorable members, I put the question that clause 2 of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, be amended as proposed.
Chair.
Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 2 of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, be amended as proposed. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 2 of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 3.
Mover? You'll move second reading. Can you give Mover the mic?
Okay, good. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the bill be amended by inserting the following new clauses immediately after clause 2.
Yeah, Chair, Mover, you will move for the inclusion of new clause 3 only. You will do them in different parts.
I beg to move that the new amended clause 2 be part of the bill.
You should move in clause 3. We are done with clause 2. And it is already passed, yeah. Sorry for the confusion.
Honorable Chairperson, you ready for me to move clause 3?
Yes.
I beg to move that the bill be amended by inserting the following new clauses. Clause 3, Section 18 of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013 be amended by renumbering it. A, renumbering the existing provision as subsection 1. And B, inserting the following new section immediately after subsection 1. And 2, the clerk of the relevant House of Parliament shall by notice in the Kenya Gazette and the parliamentary website publish the annulment of a statutory instrument by Parliament. This new clause 3 seeks to amend section 18 of the Statutory Instruments Act of 2013 to require the clerk of the relevant House of Parliament to notify the public of the annulment of a statutory instrument. This shall ensure the timely implementation of the resolution of the House on delegated legislation.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 3 be now read a second time. Honorable Jared Okello.
Chair, that is something I would want to support. As a member of the Delegated Legislation Committee, we have been confronted by several issues pertaining to annulled regulations. We are dealing with a matter that was actually annulled in 2019, but the issue has continued as in terms of implementation to this very day. And this stems from the fact that the public may not be aware about these annulments. And therefore, having it gazetted publicly in recognizable media houses, I think will go a long way to enlightening the public about quashing such regulations. And therefore, it is timely, it is important, and all of us need to support this amendment.
The Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu, MP Kitui Central.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Chair, I also want to support that amendment. I think it's very important that Kenyans are made aware of what has been rejected by this House. But at the same time, Honorable Chair, I've also been wondering, even what is approved at the committee level, if there was a way of the House being informed of what regulations have been passed by the committee, because you realize the arrangement now, Mr. Honorable Chair, we actually don't get to know. We only get to know what has been annulled, not what has been passed. How I wish there was such a way. Thank you. I support, Honorable Chair.
The Honorable Timothy Torotich, Marakwet, West MP.
Chair, I take this opportunity to support the amendment by the Honorable Deputy Speaker of gazetting the annulment. But, Chair, I have had issues with the Act, the Statutory Instruments Act. Chair, in this country, we have had bodies that are not mandated to make law in this country, Honorable Speaker, making law on behalf of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, if you look clearly, what happens in statutory instruments is that a law is brought by the executive, and the House, Honorable Chair, has two options: either to annul that legislation or to accede to that particular piece of instrument brought by the executive. So, Honorable Chair, I even call upon the committee on delegated legislation led by the chair who is here. Honorable, that chair, they should look critically, because it is a way of the executive sneaking legislations to this House. Honorable Chair, so that this House is given two options in regard to a statutory instrument. One, to either annul or accede to a piece of legislation that has originated from the executive. Chair, remember, this House has no room to propose an amendment to a piece of legislation which is called a statutory instrument before this House. This House has no role, Honorable Chair. So, Chair, I call upon the Committee on Delegated Legislation to consider reviewing that provision, so that when a piece of legislation, which is a secondary legislation, comes from the executive, let this House have a say, either to recommend our proposed amendment or not. Because if you give us options as Parliament, either to accede to it or to annul it, then you are tying the lawmaking powers of this House.
Honorable Toroitich, you've made your point. Is Honorable Anthony Oluoch? I think Honorable Anthony Oluoch, you want to speak to this?
Yes, because I had a similar amendment, but first allow me to support the Deputy Speaker, who also chairs our Rules and Procedure Committee. I do agree the need to gazette and to place this in the parliamentary website for the simple reason that laws continue to be enforced which have no force of law and have been annulled with grave consequences to Kenyans. This is a negative procedure. However, I do agree with the member who has spoken just before me that these negative procedures is very limiting to the extent that it does not allow us to exercise the full extent of our legislative powers. A positive and more purposive procedure that allows members to have a say on even those that have not been annulled, so that members become seized of this. Remember that the Committee of Delegated Legislation exercises a secondary delegated power of the main house. So I would urge the chairman that we relook the provisions, and particularly Section 15, if not in this sitting, in another sitting, that all subsidiary legislations come to the house. Otherwise, I support.
Let us make progress. Honorable members, I now put the question, the new clause 3 be now read a second time. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that the new clause 3 be part of the bill. Honorable members, I put the question that the new clause 3 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Anthony Oluoch, you still want to move your amendment?
The deputy, who is my chair and the Rules Procedure Committee, had a similar amendment. If she wishes not to move, then I will move this in your guidance. So allow me then to move. The chair,
No, Honorable Oluoch, the amendment you are seeking to move is in similar terms as the one by the Deputy Speaker, which you have just passed.
No, in that case, then I drop.
Maybe you drop. I agree that the amendment is dropped. Next.
New clause 4.
Mover for new clause 4. That is the Honorable Chepkonga to go first.
Honorable Chepkonga?
Is it Honorable Chepkonga?
New clause 4 be read a second time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I move that new clause 4.
Because we are in committee, let me just explain that
Section
there are
12.
3 amendment proposals. Yours, according to the order paper, is proposing repeal. And I hope the Deputy Speaker and Honorable Anthony Oluoch, who also have amendments to that very provision, will know the consequence of your amendment succeeding. You may then proceed, unless you want to consult with the 2 other members.
What is the consequence of this amendment passing?
What I see is that if the amendment by Honorable Chepkonga passes or succeeds, there will be nothing upon which the subsequent amendments will rest. So the subsequent amendments will also die. That is why I'm giving you not more than 15 seconds to consult on whether that is what you want to achieve.
Chair, it will not fall. Let me clarify. What we are seeking to do, I like to make reference to 2 sections of the Statutory Instruments Act. Section 18 reads as follows. When I report on a statutory instrument, has been tabled in Parliament.
Honorable
The stat-
Chepkonga, the provision you seek to amend, in fact, you seek to repeal, according to
but
the order paper, is section 19.
I am explaining.
Yes.
That statutory instrument, when it is brought before Parliament, and Parliament agrees with the committee, it shall stand annulled. Now, when it is annulled, it is not reported anywhere. So that is the reason why the amendment by the Deputy Speaker is necessary to support Section 18. Why we are seeking for repeal of Section 19 is a revocation. I think we differentiate between two things, a revocation and an annulment. Now, the reason why we are seeking for deletion is, just hold on now.
What is out of order, Honorable Pukose?
You know, Chair, with all due respect, I expected that Chepkonga would first move his amendment, then give the explanations to that, because he's explaining without moving, so we get lost. Please, if you can guide that.
No, we have not reached, you are right, Honorable Pukose, but we have not reached that stage. I just guided the movers of amendments to in respect of new clause 4, that it appears that moving as we should may have consequence. I thought Honorable Chepkonga was reacting to that. But let me propose the question that the new clause 4 be now read a second time. Honorable Chepkonga.
Mr. Chair, I noticed the difficulty. We have two difficulties here. In Section 19, I wish to move this particular clause, but if I move it, then the one of the Deputy Speaker and Honorable Watch will fail.
Correct.
Now, the problem that we have is that Section 19 provides that when the report of the House is adopted on revocation, then the statutory making body will advertise or will publish the revocation. Now, what we are saying in the proposed amendment, I don't know whether it is going to be superfluous, but maybe it will be clarifying this. I therefore wish to drop my proposed amendment.
The amendment proposed by Honorable Chepkonga is dropped. The Honorable Deputy Speaker, move your amendment.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move
At the new clause 4.
that the new clause 4
Be now read a second
be
time.
now read a second time.
Then tell us what it is about briefly.
The new clause 4 seeks to amend the Section 19 of the Statutory Instruments Act, which requires the clerk of the relevant House of Parliament to notify the public of any revocation of a statutory instrument. This shall ensure the timely implementation of the resolutions of the House on delegated legislation. Both proposals actually seek to implement the resolutions made by the 12th Parliament in its approval of the 5th report of the Procedure and House Rules Committee on amendments to the standing orders. They are contained in the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill 2022, currently awaiting second reading.
Honorable members, I propose the question, the new clause 4 be now read a second time. Yes, Honorable Pukose.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I stand to support that amendment. A statutory instrument is annulled by this House. We do not communicate to the public. And that is actually more often when the government or the ministry gazettes certain regulations. They are very fast in implementing them, and they have consequences that may either be adverse even to the public or might even involve financial implications. So by gazetting them as the clerk, then the public is aware and nobody can take advantage of the public. I support.
Honorable Anthony Lodge.
I support this to the extent that this gives clarity, especially to the public who may fall victim. And so in similar manner as the one of clause 18, this would be amendment that would protect public interest. Thank you.
As Honorable Timothy Toroitich want to speak to this? Or you are on a different matter?
Chair, I support to the extent that that particular revocation is published, so that, Chair, it is notified to the general public. Chair, the problem that I had, Chair, and I pray that you hear me clearly, Chair, is that the principal purpose or the principal mandate of a member of parliament, Chair, is to make law in this house. And I have said, it looks like there is a way that the executive is sneaking legislation into the country in the pretext of a statutory instrument. So, Chair, the issue that we must look at in the bigger picture is, in the near future, we should amend the Statutory Instruments Act to the effect that whenever a delegated law is brought to the House, let us be given power as a lawmaking body to amend that particular instrument. Because what happens is two things. One, when a delegated law is brought here, two things happen. We either pass as it is, or we are not as it is. Where is the lawmaking power of Parliament to amend a particular instrument? That is my position, Chair.
And so you support...
Chair, I support fully. I support the amendment, of course, the proposed amendment, but in future, I call upon the committee to review the entire legislation.
The Honorable Alice Nganga, you want to speak to this? You are calling to speak on a different one. The Honorable Zamzam Chimba.
Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi nakubaliana na Mheshimiwa Chepkonga kuweza kuiangusha hiyo kwa sababu ingeleta sintofahamu katika sheria. Na kama vile anavyosema mwenzangu, si vizuri sheria zikitoka nje ziweze kupenyezwa ndani ya bunge hili ambalo zinaweza kumfanya mwananchi akapata kuumia zaidi. Kwa hiyo na mimi pia naunga mkono nikisema amefanya vizuri kutoipitisha. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Chairman.
Lastly, the Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I don't wish to comment on this one. Next one.
The Honorable Jared Okelo. Are you on a point of order or you want to make a statement?
No, just as I support...
I may allow you because this provision is new and it is being read a second time.
Yes. Chair, I'm in support. Before, you remember, you can recall that under the Statutory Instruments Act, all ministries were mandated to bring forth their reviewed regulations after every 10 years. By dint of an omnibus amendment that was brought before this House, that was taken away by the, quote-unquote, the executive. And therefore, now all ministries, together with their sagas, can operate as and when they deem necessary to bring those reviewed regulations, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there was a lot of fury in the last few days about certain charges that have been preferred by the Immigration Department. You know, when you want to get married, you pay 50,000, which is over and above dowry, and many other things that were infused in those regulations. And those regulations actually had not been brought before this Parliament, Honorable Speaker, for consideration. And therefore, we really need to tighten loose ends so that the public does not consume certain punitive undertakings by the executive to the detriment of this Parliament, because this is the only law-making body with powers to do so, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Jared Nyango, the point is made. Honorable members, I put the question that the new clause 4 be now read a second time. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that the new clause 4 be part of the bill. There being no interest, I now put the question that the new clause 4 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Yes, the clauses which were recommitted were clause 2, new clause 3, and new clause 4. New clause 5 and 6 had been considered before. So I think we are done with the Statutory Instruments Act. Mover. Mover to move reporting.
Thank you very much, Chair. I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments. I thank you.
Honorable members, I put the question. The committee do report to the House its consideration of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. We move to the next bill, that is the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2023.
Clause 8.
Mover. I propose the question that clause 8 be part of the bill. Mover.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. As I was seconding the recommittal, I had given notice of the intention to withdraw. And the reason being, Mr. Chair, is that after very extensive consultation with leadership, majority leader, the chair of the committee, it has been agreed that this amendment will be carried in the Honorable Musa Sirma's amendment that is coming up for second reading in February. And the reason, Chair,